Welcome, History Detectives. Today, we're jumping right into our explainer on how we actually uncover the amazing secrets of the ancient world. Let's get started. So, have you ever stopped to wonder how we know what people were up to 5,000 years ago? I mean, there wasn't anybody walking around with a smartphone. To solve the mysteries of the past, we use historical sources, but we have to be super careful about what kind of evidence we're actually trusting. Basically, historians use two main types of clues. Primary sources are our first-hand evidence. These are things created at the exact time an event happened, like an ancient clay pot or a diary. Secondary sources, on the other hand, are created much later. That's when historians study those original clues to write a history book or draw up a map. But honestly, being a history detective isn't a walk in the park. Primary sources can be biased, completely destroyed by time, or written in languages we've totally forgotten. Sometimes it takes a massive breakthrough to crack the code, like the famous Rosetta Stone, which finally gave us the key to reading Egyptian hieroglyphs. Okay, our mystery today takes us to Mesopotamia. The name literally means the land between two rivers, specifically the Tigris and the Euphrates. Because of those rivers, the soil was incredibly rich and muddy, making it the absolute perfect place for farmers to settle down and build the world's very first civilization, Sumer. Now, the Sumerians were seriously smart about taming nature. Those rivers, they flooded all the time, completely unpredictably. So, to protect their farms, they invented canals and reservoirs to control the water. Because of that brilliant idea, they were able to grow huge surpluses of food, even during the scorching hot summers. And having all that extra food totally changed the game. It allowed their society to grow and organize into different social classes. It was kind of like a ladder. At the very top, you had kings and priests who claimed the gods gave them their power. And down at the bottom of the ladder were the hardworking peasants who actually farmed the land. But picture this. Sumer wasn't one giant united country. Instead, it was a collection of independent city-states like Ur and Uruk. They built massive stone walls around themselves because they were pretty much constantly at war with each other. Inside those walls, you'd find muddy, unpaved streets winding their way up to giant temples in the center of town. What was daily life like? Well, it really depended on who your parents were. Wealthy boys got to go to incredibly strict schools to learn writing, and they lived in huge two-story houses. But for poorer kids, the reality was quite different. They had to start working at a very young age and lived in cramped, simple mud brick homes. It wasn't all just hard work and strict rules, though. The Sumerians definitely knew how to have fun. They loved playing board games, hunting, and listening to live music on harps. To deal with the warm weather, they wore simple woolen skirts, but they absolutely loved dressing up with elaborate, beautiful jewelry. Now, since they lived in a muddy river valley, they didn't really have things like timber or precious stones lying around, so they traded for them. The kings acted as military leaders and organized massive trade networks, sending their beautifully crafted luxury goods all the way out to the Mediterranean Sea just to get those raw materials back. As you can imagine, with society growing more complex, they desperately needed rules. Later on, King Hammurabi of Babylon stepped up and carved 282 incredibly strict laws into a giant stone pillar. It included the famous rule, an eye for an eye. This is an absolutely crucial primary source because it tells us exactly how they handled crime. To write down all those laws and to keep track of their massive trade networks, they needed a system. So they invented cuneiform, literally the earliest known writing system in the world. Highly trained scribes would take special tools and press these little wedge-shaped marks directly into wet clay tablets. They also used cuneiform to write down their prayers. You see, the Sumerians were polytheistic, meaning they worshipped many different gods, like the moon god Nana. They believed these gods protected them from natural disasters. To honor them, they built towering, terraced step pyramids called ziggurats right in the heart of their cities. As time marched on, things shifted. Those independent Sumerian city-states we talked about eventually fell to the Akkadian Empire, and the map just kept changing. Much later, the mighty Babylonian and Assyrian empires rose up, conquered the area, and took over the entire region. Babylon, in particular, became an absolute jewel of the ancient world under King Nebuchadnezzar II. He was a massive builder. He surrounded the entire city with 15 million brick walls, built the spectacular blue-tiled Ishtar Gate, and even created the legendary Hanging Gardens just as a gift for his queen. No way you wouldn't be impressed by that. Even though those ancient empires ultimately fell, their brilliant ideas are still with us. Every single time you ride in a car with wheels, check a clock that has 60 minutes, or measure a circle in 360 degrees, you are literally using the everyday legacy of the Sumerians. It's wild to think about. So, as modern-day history detectives, I want to leave you with this thought. What primary sources are you creating today? Your text messages, your photos, your school projects? What will they tell future historians about the true story of your life? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and thanks so much for joining us on this explainer today.